Most investors follow trends. Very few develop edge. This show focuses on something different: how serious operators build durable wealth in overlooked niches, starting with mobile home parks. We'll break down the strategy, underwriting, discipline, talk about the roadblocks, and the operational execution that'll make your capital aligned with long term returns. This isn't about chasing deals. It's about thinking like an allocator and executing like an operator. This is the Mobile Home Park Exchange. If you're listening to this podcast today, we're going to talk about a topic that I love talking about because most operators are solving the wrong problem. First, I want to share with you a story of a community we bought. And for those of you in the space already actively owning communities, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. This was a park where when you stepped on it, it looked like nothing had been done in 2 decades. The homes were a disgrace, quite frankly. I mean, park-owned homes with skirting off, decks that were falling apart, roofs that had just had pine needles on it, trees that were overgrown, that became hazardous situations. And quite frankly, when you have a community like that, it just tends to attract people who are just there because it's the cheapest, lowest standard place to live, and it's the only place they can go. So you do have some good residents, but far you're going to be stuck with a resident mix that becomes problematic. So when we looked at this park, we realized not only did we have those issues, but if you drove by this, and we had great visibility from the the front of the is an absolute disaster. You had a sign that was hanging over where you couldn't even contact ownership if you wanted to. You had roads and craters in the road as soon as you tried to pull into the park, which made it unappealing from the site. So we knew while we were working on the rest, our time, energy, and focus had to be in that front of the park. And anybody who's been in real estate for any length of time, you know how important curb appeal is. So focus on the curb appeal of the park. And what did that mean? New roads entering the park, brand new signage, a new mailbox system, because quite frankly, the post office is in such a situation. The post office stopped delivering mail to the community. So new mailbox system up in the front of the park to change the look and the feel. But most importantly, what we did right away, as soon as that work was done, within the first months, we brought our first 8 homes to infill the park. And as we all know right now, infill is probably the greatest lever you have to create additional value in the park. In those 8 homes, we were marketing them at cost. Now, I'm not talking cost of the home plus the setup. I'm talking literally sticker price of the home. Let's just get out there to create some new velocity and get some new resident base into the park. In those 8 homes, boy, I will tell you, infilling, selling those 8 homes, the first one took about 2 months. And then it was like pulling teeth to get them off the books. Fast forward even 24 months later, where the velocity of sales, I'm not talking lease to own, the velocity of sales is up over 3 times as fast as we were doing it before. It's because what changed isn't the price. We didn't discount the homes anymore. As a matter of fact, we're selling homes at almost twice the price, from $55,000, which was the price new, to $100,000. Isn't the product? wasn't the pro forma, it was the block. It was the community, it was the culture. Because now they're clearly being enforced straight across the board. And it's a situation where you can see that difference on the ground. And we didn't have the in the city or the MSA to get people, to attract people there, because people are finding the value of being inside that community, which goes to the point. Downstream culture, not upstream of it. And most operators, they run infill like a merchandising problem. Let me get a better price. We're going to be the most affordable home in the area. We're going to have better terms. Maybe do a lease to own, or we'll do a 10-year rent to own on a new home. But infill, it's actually a trust issue. And trust isn't sold. It's demonstrated by what your community looks like, more importantly, feels like on the ground to your prospective resident. And what does that mean? It means that when we talk to our managers or our sales agents, we, in our trainings with them each week, whenever they see one of our available homes in any community we have, the first question after the showing that we have them ask, isn't if you like the house. We ask, could you see you and your family living in our community? The house gets you in the door. What we're selling is the community. And if the resident doesn't, or the prospective resident doesn't feel that, if you think infill is selling the home, you're making a big mistake. Because ultimately, you can have best priced home in the area. And yes, that'll attract some eyeballs, right? Price is a great, tool to get people in the door. But if your resident, your experience is walking out that door, the homes next to me look like they haven't been taken care of, they probably don't want to pay the price, regardless of what that price is. So what did that mean for us? I mean, some doing work on homes might even own. We're going to raise the standard on our park-owned homes like we did in that community, which means making sure that the decks were up to standard, that all the homes, the skirting was done, that everybody was power washed, every home was power washed, roofs were cool sealed if necessary. But that also means on the homes that we don't necessarily own, sometimes it means making an investment in that home that you don't necessarily own, because you do own the fact that that home now in your community. And if your value lever is bringing in new homes and bringing in new residents, you want to make sure that that resident is getting the experience of a revised community. And so that's why one of the things we drill into our people, the house is the entry point. The community is the actual thing that we're selling. We're not selling the home. We're selling the community. And the only way that we can market that community isn't by us telling you how great we are. It's a feeling. It's a feeling that resident is going to get when they get on the ground. And if they can see themselves living there, if they could see themselves wanting to live there, and changing the culture is such an important element of making sure your infill process is going to work. It's not just bringing in the homes. It's not just selecting the right product. And listen, there's a lot of great product out there, right, that you can get. But it's ensuring that as you're infilling that community, that the culture that you're building can support the resident that you're looking to attract. You cannot do one without the other. However, if you do your job right, or you do the job right on building that culture, that becomes the best marketing for that new home that you could ever do. And you could spend all the money you want on sponsored ads, or you could post it a million times in Facebook Marketplace. But if you don't have that culture inside that community, your sale process, your infill process is going to take a whole heck of a lot longer. And we saw it in those first 8 homes we brought in. And we knew it, but we knew we had to do that. And we knew it was going to take a little bit longer because of the conditions of the rest of the community. But we had to get that moving and bringing in new people first. And we were willing to take that loss on the homes to get people in, to change the feeling walking in the door. And now, less than 24 months later, we're moving at a clip much, much faster, 3.5 to 4 times faster than it was before, because the community itself is a lot different. So, and we're also able to pre-sell homes because people want to be there. So you have to, if you're looking to infill, you have to build a place that people actually want to be in. Nobody puts money down on a home in a community that they're not already sold on. That's not a sales tactic. That's a your community's reputation working for you before the selling's actually done. This has been another episode of the Mobile Home Park Exchange podcast. If you've gotten value from this episode, I ask you to do one favor. On the streaming platform that you're listening to this, give us a review and share it with us at the MHP Exchange. And if you have a question on an infill project you're working on, send us a line. We're happy to get on a call and discuss it with you. Until next time, happy investing.